Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast, and furthermore, the Penny Bloom 90's Film Awards. It is I, Colton Robertson, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here, and boy, do we have some awards to give out here.
Yes,
Lots.
we do. If you're joining us randomly here on the 90's Awards, and you're like, why are they going to do a 90's award show? That's kind of random. Well, here, we covered 16 movies from the 90's over the past 10 weeks, 90 through 99, a part of our 52-year journey through film. And only those 16 movies from the 90's will be considered for these here awards. And we had a great many. We had Goodfellas from 1990, Boys in the Hood from 1991, Malcolm X in 1992, Jurassic Park for 1993, and 1994 we saw 7 days, 7 movies, and The Lion King, Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, The Shawshank Redemption. 1995 brought us 7, 96 Trainspotting, 97 Good Will Hunting, 98 The Truman Show, and 99 The Matrix. And sorry if you couldn't follow along, but those 16 will be our nominees for the day. Or they were the options to choose from. We did set up our own little nominee lists from within those 16. Those were just where we got to choose from. And I say we kick it off. What do you say, Joe?
I'd say we get right into it. We got a lot of awards to cover. So
a lot of awards indeed. So, as per usual, we'll start with something simple. We'll start with the simple ones. We'll work our way up to the big ones. Let's go with set design. Across the 1990s, less so than the 70s and 80s, I'd say. We saw an emphasis on set design. I think it wasn't as big a focus as it has been in the previous decades, and I found that when I was putting together this nominee list. But our nominees for set design are The Matrix, The Shawshank Redemption, The Truman Show, Jurassic Park, and Trainspotting. And of these, what are you feeling drawn to the most immediately?
Well, I think it's kind of funny that The Truman Show being in here, having it be the largest set in the whole world, right, is kind of the one that I draw to immediately. But
it was the one I drew to immediately as well. Last decade we gave this award to The Shining because the set was such an integral part to the movie. It played a role practically, and I'd say The Truman Show has the same thing going for it. But there is another movie where the entire set is literally the name of the movie in Jurassic Park. The entirety of Jurassic Park is set in Jurassic Park. It's some, and I think to that one shot where they're in the tree with the Brachiosaurus, like that's a physical set right there that they built in that tree. That's some pretty impressive set design. We get to the Matrix. We got some cool shots set up. We got some like the Nebuchadnezzar. What a badass ship to be on.
I guess the Matrix itself isn't truly a set, just more of the world as it is at the turn of the century. But
there are cool places within that real world. Even that subway in the last scene. That's a pretty cool little setup. The 2 chairs with Lawrence Fishburne and Neo set up across each other. The void, all this. We got Shawshank Redemption being set in prison pretty much entirely. But you do get to see them in their setting quite a bit. And it is I'd say it's my first out here. You know, I do appreciate what it's bringing to the table, but it's just prison. You know, it's dull. It's boring a little bit. It can be.
They didn't really have to be creative with the set design.
Exactly.
There.
And it was just, I'll give it to them. They nailed it. You know, it was dreary. It was drab. It was like, I didn't want to be there. It's prison. So I'll give them credit for that. But I like getting more exciting with this award. And I think the Truman Show is where my heart lies for the set design.
Yeah, that's where I went to right away. It is the whole movie. Everything's for sale. The houses, the clothes, the everything in there. And I no better way to kick off the 90s awards than to give the Truman Show
the Truman
a win
Show
here.
A little bit of love.
And I feel if it were to be any, I'd say the top three are The Matrix, The Truman Show, and Jurassic Park.
I'd say so too.
I'd say The Matrix and Jurassic Park are like tied for second, but The Truman Show just edges out.
The setting's too integral, you know. It's literally built to make Truman comfortable. It plays an important role in the movie, you know, more so than any other movie in this category, I'd say. And what drew me to Trainspotting to even put it on this list is that one room, really. Where it's like orange walls and just like a single chair that they just like lay around in every once in a while. Like that was like the only setting where I was like, yeah, this looks like a meth den, or a heroin
His childhood
den.
Bedroom.
Yep.
Even.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who was good throughout, you know, and then
Kevin
fell.
McKidd?
Yeah, his apartment at the end, seeing how like destroyed and stuff it was. Definitely a very important part of the movie there. But nothing.
Disheveled the characters were. The hotel room, I'm thinking about, I guess, but it's more the way those places are shot than the sets itself that I think really lends itself to being effective. And so yeah, I got to go Truman Show with the set design. Hell of a way to kick it off. So that's the succession of winners there. We had the Truman Show here in the 90s. The 80s, we had The Shining, and the 70s, Star Wars. It's quite the succession there.
Hard to beat Star Wars set design there, but
yeah. But let's hit the costume design. Another one previously won by Star Wars. This is pretty integral. You know, I've loved this across several movies. I believe the 80s went to The Breakfast Club. You know, you see them, you know who they are, you're in it. You know, and here we've got a few similar nominees. Again, The Matrix, The Truman Show, and Trainspotting, all options for the costume design, along with Boys in the Hood and The Mask. And The Mask, you know, there's pretty much one costume design that's the reason that it's up for this award. It's that yellow suit. It's the green mask. We love Jim Carrey, but for me, first out. This is not the highlight of this film, although it might have the second most memorable look amongst all of them. I don't know how you go any other way than The Matrix, though, for costume design.
That's where I was immediately drawn towards. It's iconic. You know, you put on those glasses, you put on a black trench coat, or you put on some you know, Morpheus's glasses. Everything in that movie is iconic for them. It's their self-image. You know, it's the
way they see themselves. It's the mental projection of their digital self. It's what an incredible costume design in that movie. It's so memorable. It made such an impact in the late 90s, early 2000s. Such a look. You know, I think Trainspotting did a good job at presenting us heroin addicts. You know, they often looked disheveled. They often presented that image to us, and I think that was important. The Truman Show hit us with the stereotypical suburban sitcom lifestyle attire, which I think was necessary, but doesn't shine. And Boys in the Hood, I'll always remember the clothes they were rocking in that movie. It's just they nailed the streetwear thing for that one, and there wasn't too much beyond it, but. You know, when it comes to the creative side of things, you got to go Matrix for the costume design.
Oh yeah, I'm fully in agreement there. It was the one out of these nominees that I was like, it
of course.
stands in a league above the rest. So oh yeah, comfortable with that there. To the first two are the break of reality. You know
Yes, of course.
which is
Questioning your reality. You got Truman Show and The Matrix. And as I said, with costume design, previously won by Star Wars and The Breakfast Club, now passing on to The Matrix, which is just a beautiful big three right there. Whenever they inevitably face in the Master Award show, it will be difficult to distinct. But with that, we're on to the best soundtrack. And man, you know, this one previously won by John Williams for Star Wars, also previously won by John Williams for Raiders of the Lost Ark. And this year he is again nominated, John Williams, for Jurassic Park score. We'll get to why he wins in a second, but here are the nominees. The Matrix, The Truman Show, Trainspotting, and The Lion King. And, you know, let's put some respect on The Matrix, The Truman Show, and Trainspotting right now. Three categories, 3 noms, each of them. Those movies are prevailing, you know what I'm saying? And if I had to go with a second place here, behind Jurassic Park, I go Truman Show.
Interesting. I would.
You know, The Matrix is strong. But The Lion King is strong too.
That's what I was gonna say. If I was given a second place, it'd go to The Lion King for me.
Yeah, man.
It's. I mean, it is. Yeah. And there are songs from our childhood there. Hakuna Matata. You gotta be kidding me. The Circle of Life. Come on.
Man.
But you know, it's John Williams. It's the GOAT.
And how do you not go 3 for 3 for John Williams and Star Wars, Raiders, and Jurassic Park? Those are 3 of the best scores of all time. I mean, I love me Don Davis on the Matrix soundtrack. I love The Lion King. You know, Jeremy Irons singing his ass off as Scar is fucking awesome. I fucking love the music in that movie. But, you know, The Truman Show was my instinct for second place. And I strongly suggest the next time you go back that you just like listen to that music, or maybe just listen to the music on itself, because it is powerful as all fuck, dude. It is incredible. It's not John Williams' Jurassic Park, I don't think, but
for some context for the people, in the background, I have a master playlist of movie soundtracks that you have created, playing in the background for me. And I hit shuffle, and the first song to come on was Jurassic Park. So just kind of fitting there. So yeah, that's the thing with John Williams is, you know, whenever you know what world you're in the first second of the song that you hear.
No matter. And I'll tell you what, I love me some John Williams soundtracks, and you know I love Star Wars. So it pains me to say that I think Jurassic Park might be my favorite John Williams score. It's fucking beautiful, dude. It's more ethereal than any of the others. Like it brings a sense of like a levity that the others don't. You know, the other ones are more brash. You know, we also had him for Jaws in 1975, and those are more the horns and the electric, like, you know, but you get a little bit more of a slow paced feel and vibe to the soundtrack you get with Jurassic Park.
Did he also, Harry Potter? I mean, he's done, like, it's insane how
dude's bag so deep.
I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but just how instantly you can tell what world you're in through him. Like, and just how iconic his songs are. Yeah. Oh man. I wonder, like, how those movies would have been without the soundtrack being as strong as they are. You know, if that really pulls away from these movies, I don't think it's necessarily crucial, you know, to the movie being so good, but yes, it builds the world, and soundtrack is often very, very underrated when it comes to thinking of why a movie's so good. And John Williams, he hits it every time. He doesn't miss.
No, No,
he just
does
doesn't
not.
miss. But I'd say if I were to give a second place, I'd go Lion King here, for my the one that comes the closest to Jurassic Park. It's not not really close. Yeah, I
But
mean,
I just can't wait to be king. Man, that shit goes, like there's something with the soundtrack category that like when it comes to musicals, it almost feels unfair to compare them to to normal scores, because that's usually what I go into the mindset of for the soundtrack. It's the moments where music is playing that nobody's singing, like when Mufasa's death is rolling around. Like the music that plays in that moment is powerful as all fuck, but it's not Hakuna Matata. It's not the one by Nala. The love is Aurora's just screaming at her at whatever's playing the device right now. Can you feel the love tonight?
Can you feel the love? Oh, yeah, okay.
Tonight.
Yeah, all you need is the title, and there you go. You're right into the
I'm right
song,
there.
so.
But it's got some incredible songs, so like I won't be like, I think it's an unfair comparison to go The Lion King versus a score by John Williams. It comes down to personal preference at that point. And for me, I fall on the score side more than the musical side of things. And I think that's the way it's got to be for me. But for real, one of my favorite songs from that soundtrack is Jeremy Irons performing "Be Prepared" by Scar. That shit's fantastic.
Ooh.
Man.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, like whenever there's no one singing and how it's making you feel in the moment and what it's really doing for the scene. I feel like that's more important than when it's literally the focus of the movie.
It's literally the story.
Yeah.
It is lending to the story. Like it's a whole different thing, and I just felt like it would be blasphemous to not include The Lion King in a best soundtrack conversation, because it needed to be spoke on. Like, as far as a musical soundtrack is concerned, this is one of my favorites ever. It's incredible, but I come to the score, and John Williams, you don't miss with John Williams. So he gets the nod here for Jurassic Park for best soundtrack, and that's 3 straight for the man: Star Wars, Raiders, and Jurassic Park. And with that, we're on to the let's be real, what we're here for. These next 4, we've got best supporting actress, best supporting actor, best actress, and best actor. These are the most fun categories for me. I mean, besides the latter half of the show. It's where we really get to reflect on all of the performances we saw, what hit us the hardest, and what's really resonating here. So let's hit the best supporting actress category. This one was tough. In putting together the nominees, I recognized that we had all male-led films. I wish I would have really paid attention to that going into the decade. What we had set up. So in some cases, it was hard to distinguish the best leading actress from the best supporting actress, and the best supporting actress struggled for nominees. I had to reach into the bag for these, So let's present them. We had Regina King for Boys in the Hood, Angela Bassett for Boys in the Hood and Malcolm X, Sean Young for Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Cameron Diaz for The Mask, Lauren Holly for Dumb and Dumber, Gwyneth Paltrow for Seven, and Laura Linney for The Truman Show. And this is kind of hard off rip. I think to Angela Bassett and Malcolm X, and she was her role as Malcolm's wife was pretty powerful. She had a few scenes that were really, really strong, but she doesn't. I don't think she gets nearly the time she deserved in that movie. I don't think she got nearly the time she deserved in Boys in the Hood as the mother to Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character in that film. So like straight off rip, if I'm drawn to anybody, it's Angela Bassett or Gwyneth Paltrow in Seven. the Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, all great roles, all very funny roles, but they didn't have to reach into the bag the way Angela Bassett and Gwyneth Paltrow did in Seven, and arguably even more than Angela Bassett, Gwyneth Paltrow gets very little screen time.
But I think her time on screen was utilized the best. The scene between her and Morgan Freeman sitting down in the diner. That's the scene I immediately think to. I think that's where she really shined.
That's the
she
scene
breaks
that got
down,
her,
she cries. I mean,
that's the scene that got her this nod, for sure.
And man, I mean, she's at the end of the movie too. She's not there, but she's there, sadly.
Very important story element.
And if the award were to go to anybody, I'm between the same two that you are. I guess it's just that Gwyneth Paltrow had the more memorable or the more impactful performance.
I'd say so too. I think my gut goes to Gwyneth Paltrow for 7 here. I want to put some respect on Laura Linney in the Truman Show real quick though, because she did some pretty good shit in that movie. Playing the stereotypical sitcom actress. Like she was doing ad reads in the middle of the movie. How can anyone expect me to carry on in these conditions? It's unprofessional. Like she did her thing there. I personally prefer her in Ozark, but she did pretty good in the Truman Show. But I gotta go Gwyneth Paltrow here.
I guess the most screen time out of anyone, would it be Lauren Holly in Dumb and Dumber?
Lauren Holly or Cameron Diaz in The Mask.
Oh, true.
I think those two or Laura Linney. Laura Linney had plenty of time.
Oh, that's true. Okay, fair.
But yeah, those Jim Carrey female leads, they had plenty of screen time. They just didn't get quite the development that some other characters did, and they don't get to shine in their roles as hard, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I loved me some Lauren Holly in Dumb and Dumber. She did pretty good. Cameron Diaz in The Mask, arguably one of the most beautiful women alive at that point in time too. Sean Young and Ace Ventura, very funny. But yeah, if I got to give it to anybody, it's Angela Bassett or Gwyneth Paltrow, and I gotta go Gwyneth Paltrow. Regina King, also awesome in Boys in the Hood, but she had like 3 minutes of screen time total, and the scene she was in, she was funny as fuck, but I couldn't grant her the award here. I love me some Regina King, so I had to get her in here on this supporting actress list. Love her in Watchmen and Angela Abar.
Hopefully moving forward, and whenever we get to the Aughts Awards, whenever we're there, hopefully we have a lot more stronger roles, with women, and maybe we'll see the movies and stuff around there. But
we did have some pretty strong women roles in the 90s, and we will get there with our Best Actress category. But yeah, like I felt even last decade, I felt a lot better about our Best Supporting Actress category. There seemed to be a lot more fruit to bear there. We did Michelle Pfeiffer, Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood, Sean Young again, back-to-back nominees in the Best Supporting Actress category. Shout out. But yeah, I got to go Gwyneth Paltrow in 7. I don't see any way around that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But with that, let's head on to Best Supporting Actor. Now, this personally is probably my favorite category on the list that we're gonna have to choose from here. So let's get into it. Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood, Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption and 7, Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, and Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood and The Matrix. And boy, oh boy, are those last 3 making this a bitch.
Those last 3, holy fuck. I was like, whenever I was reading, I was like, oh, it's Morgan Freeman. And then I went to Robin Williams. I'm like, oh shit. And then I was like, Lawrence. I was like, this is a lot harder of a category than I thought it was going to be. I think we're going to have to talk our way through this one. This one's not obvious.
We're gonna have to. And here's and you know what's crazy is, like, as much as I want to talk about it, as much as I want to be able to talk through it, there's one that's nagging at me. Like, it's like straight off rip. For me, it's between Morgan Freeman and Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
I love Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, but what he did in Good Will Hunting, I feel like Lawrence Fishburne kind of ultimately overcomes in Boys in the Hood and The Matrix. Morgan Freeman overcomes in The Shawshank Redemption and Seven. It's the fact that they both have two incredible performances put forth in this. You know, I love Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. You know, and you're selling it. You know, like that's a great moment for Jeff Goldblum. Ice Cube kills it in Boys in the Hood. It was a great acting debut for him, and Joe Pesci actually won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, not to discredit any of these other people up here for these nominations.
No, not at all. These are all incredible.
Yeah,
it's just that Morgan Freeman and Lawrence Fishburne dominated their roles. And as much as I fucking loved Lawrence Fishburne in Boys in the Hood and The Matrix, how do you not go Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption?
That's true.
And frankly, I don't think he even needs Seven.
That's what I was about to say.
It's just a tack on. Like,
it's a cherry on top. And that's incredible that's the cherry on top is his performance in Seven, because he's also as crucial to the story as he is in Shawshank as he is in Seven.
Exactly.
And, you know, I guess, yeah, just I'm more comfortable now. I guess off surface level, I'm like, damn, like these are that is incredible. But I mean, Shawshank, one of just the best movies just of all time in general.
And Red is just one of the best characters of all time. I fucking love that dude in that role. And I mean, I want to put some respect on Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus, you know, specifically. I loved him in The Matrix. He steals every scene that he's in. He's electric. And even in Boys in the Hood, man, he's probably my favorite character in Boys in the Hood.
I wanted him to adopt me. You know, I wanted him as my father. You know,
right.
Like I remember saying that whenever we did that podcast. Like, man, like I don't know, just
what a man.
And man, that's tough. If Morgan Freeman wasn't here, he wins this. I don't think pretty easily. Like he's the easy second out of these people. But man, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Jeff Goldblum, what a very, very strong category that we have here. But yeah, I would say Morgan Freeman is the one to take that leap above everyone else here.
I'd say so too. You know, I loved me some Robin Williams. I obviously I love me some Robin Williams, but you know, he's not doing, like, even looking back to what he did in Dead Poets Society, like he bodies those roles, you know, like those are the roles for Robin Williams. Those inspiring introspective roles that make you think and make you admire him all the more, you know. And but yeah, I gotta go Morgan Freeman. I don't know how you don't go Morgan Freeman when it comes to this. I mean,
that's the whole movie for Shawshank.
In those movies, he could arguably be the lead. Like, it's like I went with supporting actor just because, like, I think Andy and Brad Pitt's character are the main characters in those movies, you know, so I ultimately put him as supporting. But
they're
even
both
more so
the
in Seven, is it, like, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that is, the line is very blurred between who's the main character in Shawshank. Like, I mean, it's both of them, really. One doesn't, you know, he's the narrator. He's the one telling the story, you know, even though it's Andy's story.
That's what makes me go, Andy's the lead. He's telling the story about Andy. So like that, Andy Dufresne.
I guess if you can say that he could be the lead actress, then he wins the supporting actor category pretty easily there. So,
yeah, like it's not even close, man. Like I the only one that gave him a run for his money for me was Lawrence Fishburne. But even then, it's the Shawshank Redemption, man. Like I can't speak highly enough about Morgan Freeman in that movie, man. He did so fucking good. So I had to go Morgan Freeman for supporting actor. There was a little doubt in my mind, but what a category. Morgan Freeman, Robin Williams, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeff Goldblum, Ice Cube, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro. Fuck.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Just the cool math guy, you know.
Cool math guy.
Oh yeah, but I'm definitely I'm arriving at Morgan Freeman here. I at first I was hesitant to give it to him right away, but after talking through it, yeah, he deserves that one for sure.
Yeah, I knew talking through it would lead us to the same conclusion. It's I just don't know how you get better than Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption. That was the shit. But with that, let's get to the best actress. Now, this one's a fun category. We got a lot of great actresses over the course of this decade from a lot of great movies. These are some of my favorite roles in all of it. So let's start with Lorraine Bracco from Goodfellas, played Karen Hill, wife to Ray Liotta's character, Hank Hill. And we got Laura Dern from Jurassic Park, Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction, Robin Wright in Forrest Gump, Minnie Driver in Good Will Hunting, and Carrie Ann Moss in The Matrix. Now, this is tough as fuck.
I think, we're kind of fresh off The Matrix, so it's really fresh in my mind. And whenever I'm thinking of like female roles that I just love in general, I do think of her. But out of the movie that we did get of her, this isn't like her strongest performance, out of the next two movies that come up in The Matrix.
I'd say she has her strongest moment, though.
Ooh.
That moment where she's looking at Neo laying there and she tells him, like the Oracle, she told me, I would fall in love with a man and that man would be the one. So you see, you can't be dead.
And
she gives him that kiss, man. That's a strong moment.
That's true. Okay, fair. I was just trying to make sure that I'm not being any, bias for movie that
I won't go that far. I won't go that far. You might there might be a little recency bias here coming off The Matrix with Carrie Ann Moss because, thinking back, there are two others that I'm real tempted, and it's Lorraine Bracco in Goodfellas, and it's Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. I loved Laura Dern in Jurassic Park. Don't get me wrong, but she doesn't get the chance to shine on screen the way that those two did. I don't think. Robin Wright and Forrest Gump rocks, but Jenny is kind of hard to get behind. And then Minnie Driver in Good Will Hunting, nothing but love for that character. But originally I had her as best supporting actress because she's not a massive part of that movie. It's more about Matt Damon, Robin Williams, and Stellan Skarsgård. But she was a key component of it. And therefore she had to be involved here. And frankly, I loved the character. But and she did dig into the bag there once, with Matt Damon being like, "You don't want to know that. You don't want to hear that." And she's like, I do want to hear that. I need you to tell." That's some powerful shit right there. There's this is just lined with impressive performances. And frankly, I'm no closer to a decision.
I think I'm between Lorraine Bracco. I think she was the one who I initially was like, yeah, because I think her performance is just done so well.
She's my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah, and her
movie with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta, a mob movie Martin Scorsese directed. My favorite part of it is Lorraine Bracco, the mob wife. I have no doubts about that. That's hard to do.
I guess would it be easiest, instead of to try to just pick a winner here, to try to eliminate some first?
All right.
Maybe that would be easiest.
All right. So if I'm eliminating straight off top, first out for me is Robin Wright in Forrest Gump as Jenny. Loved her, but loved her performance. But I don't think she doesn't have the moment in my head that I can think of that like they would play at the award show. That's like, see this scene, this is why. Like she doesn't have that for me. Lorraine Bracco has a couple. Uma Thurman has a couple. Carrie Ann Moss has a couple. Minnie Driver even has one. And that's what leads me to go Laura Dern's my next out. I loved Laura Dern in Jurassic Park. And she did fucking fantastic in that role. But she doesn't have the moment. She doesn't have the award show moment for me. And
yeah, that's fair. And it's not really that kind of a movie.
No, yeah, exactly. Like it's a different kind of movie, and she does fantastic in the movie. It's just, it's not one that called for her to dig that deep into the bag. I mean, she did fantastic playing frightened, playing scared of the dinosaurs. She was flooring there. But yeah, I think next out would definitely be Minnie Driver after that in Good Will Hunting. Love her, love that character, and like for some reason I'm like, damn. I didn't want her to lose, but she's here and she's losing, and it has to be that way.
So I guess I know her moment, that they would show at the award show. That's
for Carrie Ann Moss.
Her talking to Neo, her being explaining she loves him. That's for sure. What moments do you think for these two would show up for him?
Lorraine Bracco, I've actually got a couple. Lorraine Bracco, I got the one where Ray Liotta wakes up. She's sitting on his lap with a gun pointed in his face, telling him what needs to go down, what needs to happen. And the other one is at the end of the movie when whenever she's like, I flushed the drugs. And he's like, why would you do that? And they like break down together in the room, and they're like sitting in the corner, like hugging and like sobbing. Like those are a couple really, really good scenes. And there's even another small moment that's not like an award show moment, but it's so clear what Lorraine Bracco's character is feeling in the moment when she watches Henry go across the street, beat the shit out of the dude who sexually coerced her with the butt of his gun. He walks back, tells her to hide it, and she's like, okay. Like she did fantastic in that too. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, Lorraine Bracco from Goodfellas is my winner. I loved Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. But even less than Lorraine Bracco and Carrie Ann Moss, I don't know that she definitely has the moment that shines. It was just more her general presence that drew me to Uma Thurman. She's
the
killed
poster,
that role.
It's like,
oh yeah, like
that's an iconic poster right there, and she's the face of the movie. That I like. Before I even watched the movie, I only knew like her face. Really, like I knew that poster. I've seen it everywhere. And her like in the diner, whenever they're in the car, eating, and then they go up and dance. Like I'm thinking of like her moments there whenever she ODs.
Yeah, those are strong.
And but I think it's really it's what happened to her, like her character that like is why that she's up here. But Lorraine Bracco, like she was the character, and it's her performance of that. Yeah. So I think if I'm between two, I think I'm between Lorraine Bracco and Carrie Ann Moss.
I think I was too.
But I do think Lorraine Bracco wins this one.
Hey, the nice little sandwich with 1990's lead actress and 1999's lead actress. That's just perfect. We started the decade and we ended the decade with some kick-ass lead actresses. But ultimately, I think it's got to go Lorraine Bracco and Goodfellas. I think I even mentioned her in the 80's award show where I was like, hey, in next decade, we start the decade off with a banger.
That's
with Lorraine Bracco. And there we have it. She ends up winning it all here for Best Actress. And I feel good about that. I feel real good about that. Lorraine Bracco in Goodfellas as Karen Hill. And with that, let's head to Best Actor. Now, this was even harder to limit to 7. I ended up having 8. I didn't know how to avoid it. So we'll kick it off here. Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood, Denzel Washington in Malcolm X, Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, Tim Robbins in The Shawshank Redemption, Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting, Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, Jim Carrey in The Truman Show, and Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. And you know what? Just so we're clear, I love me some Keanu Reeves. Love him to death. Love that man. He's part of the basis for the entire personality of this show. But he's the first out. I love him to death, but his performance isn't touching the performances that we also have here. I really only added him because I was like, he's Keanu Reeves. How am I not going to have him in the best actor category? But
praise him.
Praise him.
We'll praise him, but I'm agreeing there. It's not his performance that does it for him in the movie.
Nah, it's not. But now I'm firmly in a place of this could go to anybody. Like, I think my next first out, as awesome as the character was and the writing for the movie was, Tim Robbins as Andy Dufresne. I mean, he did fantastic in the role, but there's I'm not floored by the performance that he gives. You know, he does play a relatively emotionless man. He's very simple, very, very plain, very vanilla. You know, it's part of his thing. You know, read comments on it. He's like, I got the dude with the silver spoon stuff shoved up his ass. Like he's relatively plain. He's vanilla.
The award for that movie already went to the right guy. Went to Morgan Freeman.
And I it might be seeing some more awards later. Who knows? But I think Tim Robbins has to go there. And now I'm even more of in a place where it can go to anybody. Tim Robbins was the only one I was feeling weak about. But man, thinking back to Cuba Gooding, like if we're going by the same logic that we had in the Best Actors category with the Oscar moment, you know, the moment Cuba Gooding has one for sure when he comes home and just breaks down and just like, why's it gotta be like this? You know, like that sequence was fucking amazing, dude.
Man, I'm like, I'm trying to limit it to like, I just can't. Like, I'm thinking
there's no one here that I can confidently say is an easy out.
Yeah, like our boy, like Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting. That's an incredible role to play. Like having to put yourself in the mind of an addict and play that incredible. Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Like I'm thinking of his exactly. That's the moment I'm thinking of. It's not your fault. It's not your. Is that what he says?
Yeah, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's
like
not your
that.
Fault.
That's the moment right there for me. The Truman
and even
Show.
Before that, you know, he like when he was facing off with Minnie Driver and was like, "You don't want to hear about that. You don't want to hear about how he burnt his cigarettes out on my arms." Like you don't like that's some powerful shit.
I mean, and then you have Denzel for the whole 3 hours or whatever it is for Malcolm X just performing his ass off. I did not think, you know, I'm like, this is Malcolm X right here. Like he's playing his ass off right here.
And for me, the scene that gets me there is him with the revolver. And he's sitting there, he's like, you don't want to fuck with a man who's not afraid to die. You know, like he puts the gun to his head and he's like, click. And he twice, man, like
twice in a row too. Mm-hmm. And then your turn, you know, or like, damn. Yeah, this is not an easy category right here to choose from. And I mean, and Jim Carrey for the Truman Show. You know, if I'm picking out any Jim Carrey role that I'm going towards, you know, it's iconic for The Mask, iconic for Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, but it's not the performance that he shows in the Truman Show. And I'm specifically him on the boat. You're gonna have to kill me. And then at the end, you know, when he's talking to the architect, is that what they call him, or the creator? Creator. That would be the moment I would think, you know, of the award, or even maybe I don't know. He has that.
Dad.
I don't know. Maybe this is the next out, just because I don't think it holds the weight that these others do.
That's where I'm at. I think that my next two out, crazy, would be Jim Carrey and Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I love Forrest Gump, and I think Tom Hanks did incredible as Forrest Gump, obviously, but I don't know. He does play that naivete and childlike innocence really, really well.
If I'm thinking of Tom Hanks like best performances, though, I'm not really jumping to Forrest Gump. I'm more
fair.
like Castaway, or like where it's more like emotional and stuff like that. So I mean, I do think
Tom Hanks is kind of in a similar lane with Tim Robbins in that he doesn't. There's not a lot of variation in the way he presents himself over the course of the movie. He doesn't show a great deal of range. He just shows a character. You know what I'm saying? And I think the same can be said for Denzel Washington. It's more the fact that he's playing a real guy that makes me go, wow, this is insane. Because he really kills it as Malcolm X. Shit.
The one that I keep coming back to, and I don't know if it's just because of the movie itself and how it impacted me, is Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. And I can't tell if it's his performance or if it's just the story that's so strong that leads me to come back to him. But I don't think he wins, though, is the thing. Like, I keep coming back to it, but I don't think he
looking
wins.
at the one who's right next to him, looking at Ewan McGregor versus Matt Damon in Trainspotting versus Good Will Hunting. It is the story that propels Matt Damon to the heights he's at, and credit to Matt Damon there, he wrote it.
That's true. True.
But it's the acting that propels Ewan McGregor's character to a different place. So I take Ewan McGregor over Matt Damon here also, and that leaves us now with Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood, Denzel Washington and Malcolm X, and Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting. And damn, man, this is a tough one. But if I'm gonna eliminate another one, the one that feels right is Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood. I love that. Like, that moment is so powerful that we mentioned earlier. It really is incredible. But it's Denzel and Ewan McGregor, man.
I have my favorite actor of all time, Denzel Washington, up here, and I have freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. What? How am I going to choose between these two right here? How am I going to?
It's a shite state of affairs.
Oh,
we've been led astray, run amok.
Can we flip a coin? I don't like that.
Right. Like, is that the way to make this decision? What
the tie?
Are they co-best actors of the year or of the decade? I love Ewan McGregor and Trainspotting to death. But Denzel Washington was Malcolm X, dude. Like, he embodied that role so fucking perfectly, and it breaks my heart to say goodbye to Ewan McGregor because I was like low-key pulling for him the whole time, but I can't in good conscience give it to him over Denzel there. I just can't.
Criminally underrated in the Hollywood world. The guy's never won. I don't think he's won an Oscar before. He's been nominated.
No way.
I know. He's like one of the only. I don't think he's won, which is insane. And he, which is just.
I gotta check this out.
Oh, he won best. Wait, he won this year?
For Macbeth, probably, or was nominated for it at least. Yeah, best performance by an actor in a leading role. The Tragedy of Macbeth. He was a nominee. Oscar nominee.
But Will Smith won for him with King Richard there. So I think he's never won.
Yeah, he's not won Best Actor.
Which is nuts to me.
Oh, yeah, he did. He won Best Actor in a leading role for what will be our 2001 movie, Training Day.
Okay. Thankfully.
He was nominated for Best Actor for Malcolm X. Won Best Actor in a supporting role for Glory. So he's won a couple.
Okay, good.
He's won a couple.
Okay, good.
Thankfully.
Okay, good.
And nominated plenty, but
man, he's my favorite actor.
I feel like if Denzel Washington's popping up, he should win.
Yeah,
it just feels right.
He was kind of the one I was going to right away because I love Denzel. He's my guy. He's the guy I love watching, my favorite actor. And I'm glad you went there because I was going to give it to him just because I think he deserves so much more in Hollywood and he's so underrated. But yeah, Malcolm X, he played Malcolm X. Like there's no question about that. And he taught me about Malcolm X. Like I did not know, really anything about Malcolm X before this movie. And I couldn't think of any person to teach me and educate me, and really give me an insight to who that person was, than Denzel.
Denzel's a damn good way to do that, man. He was fantastic in that role. He just embodied it. Like I remember when we talked about it too, we were just like, holy shit, man. He owned that role. Like he was Malcolm X. Like I can't speak highly enough about him. But with that, let's revisit through those categories who's won by the decades. And in the best supporting actress category, we didn't have one in the 70s, but in the 80s we got Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood winning, and then this year we've got Gwyneth Paltrow in Seven winning. Best supporting actor in this decade, Morgan Freeman, but in the 80s, we had Robert Sean Leonard as Neil in Dead Poets Society. And further back in the 70s, we had Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper in Jaws. Our best actress in the 70s was Carrie Fisher. In the 80s, it was Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. And in the 90s, it is Lorraine Bracco as Karen Hill.
Damn.
Strong three there. Best actor here in the 70s, Marlon Brando. Best actor in the 80s, Harrison Ford. And best actor in the 90s, Denzel Washington. What a lineup that is, man. Those awards are going to be a bitch. Alrighty. Alrighty then. But with that, and you know what? In that best actor category, I only credited Jim Carrey for The Truman Show, but he had 4 movies that he was the lead of in this decade.
Dang. Yeah, he
a quarter of the movies we covered, he was the lead.
He was big in the 90s, that's for sure. Definitely big for us. We had a trilogy dedicated to him in 94. Which but man, wow, that good company with these winners here. Definitely, they sound like winners. I would certainly say so. And with that, we're on to our last 2 official awards. And we're going to start with Best Writer. So here we've got John Singleton for Boys in the Hood, Eric Roth for Forrest Gump, Frank Darabont for The Shawshank Redemption, John Hodge for Trainspotting, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck for Good Will Hunting, Andrew Niccol for The Truman Show, and the Wachowski sisters for The Matrix. So, straight off rip, how you feeling here? I picked the 7 best written movies we have. I have no doubts about that. And it's feeling like it's almost certainly like, god damn, all of these are just so fucking fantastically written. Because I remember watching Boys in the Hood and thinking that was the strong point. Like that was what made that movie was the writing. True.
It was so incredibly integral. Forrest Gump. There's something to be said for John Singleton writing Boys in the Hood, because Forrest Gump based on a book, Shawshank Redemption based on a book, Trainspotting based on a book. We got a few based on books here, and that doesn't necessarily dismiss the writing altogether, but it does boost up John Singleton, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Andrew Niccol, and the Wachowski sisters for my money, just because they they killed this shit. You know what I'm saying? This Boys in the Hood was nominated for Best Writing and Best Director at the Oscars back in the day, which is pretty awesome. Let's see. I'm looking through all the nominees officially to see how in line we are. It did get nominated. It did not get nominated for Best Writer. It doesn't appear. Forrest Gump didn't. So feel pretty good about eliminating that one off rip.
Mm-hmm.
However, regardless of it being based on a book, The Shawshank Redemption deserves to be in the running here, because it's not entirely based on a book. I think it's based on a short novel, and they had to expand on it. And I think The Shawshank Redemption becomes much more in play again. The only one that I truly eliminate for that was Forrest Gump, because I think that's a pretty honorable adaptation, and so is Trainspotting. But it's so damn powerful that it's like how do you comfortably go? Yeah, that was. I mean,
man, I am having just a hard, because these are such different movies. Like, you have Good Will Hunting, that it's incredible that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote that movie. And I remember whenever we covered it, like, not knowing that they wrote the movie before, and whenever you said that, I'm like, oh my God, that makes the movie like so much better.
That enhances the movie knowing that knowledge.
Thinking of what the Wachowski, is that how you say it?
Yeah, the Wachowskis.
What they came up with, that's insane that they came up with that world. And writing that is nuts. Boys in the Hood, the whole movie is just the story itself, and like, these are, this is
a tragedy, and it's just, it's so damn good, man.
This is not easy. I don't know where I'm going as of right now.
If I had to limit it to 3 nominees right now, like if I had to pick, it's Boys in the Hood, Good Will Hunting, and The Matrix.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm there. For how good Shawshank is, and everything, and Trainspotting, I don't think the writing is up there with Boys in the Hood, Good Will Hunting, and Matrix. It pains me to eliminate these movies. But
the Truman Show even more kind of hurts, just because I loved the way that movie was written, But man, Shawshank's gnawing at me, like I'm like, I don't know, man. Shawshank might be there. But man,
I don't know. I don't. They're so different. Boys in the Hood, the writing making you feel that devastation, making you feel for the characters. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing that story, like, it came from deep down within them. It was obvious that they were very, very passionate about this movie. And it's insane that they did, write this together and performed it together. But then you have the world building and the crazy story of The Matrix. And I don't know what propels one above the other here. I can't really, maybe it's, I guess I can't really think of their performance in the movie, because that's not what this category is for.
Not what it's about,
just the story. It's just the writing here.
I think bare bones, it is much harder to get me into a serious drama that doesn't have anything else going for it. Visual effects, sci-fi, action in that way. And I think that eliminates The Matrix here for me personally,
I think that's fair. The Matrix has so much else going for it. It has sci-fi, it has the AI, it has the reality. We're being kind of, you can be distracted from the story completely and still be like, okay, this movie's,
and still enjoy the movie.
So it sucks to eliminate it, but I do think that's fair. And now I'm between Boys in the Hood and Good Will Hunting here. And
I just want to give him a co-winner here, man. Like this is hard. This is a bitch. You know, and I'm gonna hit you with this logic. Tell me if you follow. Because I'm not even sure I'm 100% behind it, but the thought occurred to me, and it felt necessary to mention. We made a lot of comparisons upon Good Will Hunting to Shawshank for the similar format of the story and the winning aspect of our main character prevailing in the end. Like, yeah, like that's an ending right there. He got what he wanted. He got what he needed. There's a tragedy to Boys in the Hood that's not achieved by any of these other movies besides maybe Trainspotting.
You leave this movie feeling pretty good. You know, you leave this movie, no one knows what I'm talking about. You leave Good Will Hunting feeling pretty good about yourself and feeling good about the movie. But man, do you leave Boys in the Hood just devastated and like feel like you are like, it's just I don't know. I feel, I mean, if you're comfortable giving it to the both of them, like I don't think I can pick between, but if I did have to pick one, I do think it's Boys in the Hood because that's what the movie is. And without the story, that movie's really nothing. I'm not saying that the performances are still fantastic and all, but
hey, they need that writing though. They need that writing. They need that direction. Like John Singleton writing Boys in the Hood, I think, is one of the most compelling pieces of American film ever. Just because it is so unique to an experience. And like it captures an aspect of real American life that I don't think a lot of these others
that's true
achieve in a way that is quite as compelling.
In Good Will Hunting, you have, you know, a mega genius at MIT. We have, you know, these crazy things that are happening. But Boys in the Hood, you're in a neighborhood following a group of guys around. You know, like this, like it's that simple. But the movie is so complex in itself with the story, and I've
seen with Lawrence Fishburne where like he's got this real wherewithal about him that, you know, is addressed in Malcolm X later on, where he's like, you know, they put liquor stores on every corner, they put this on every corner. Like, why do you think that's happening? Why do you think they do that? You know, like those scenes are just so powerful, and I think it's got to be John Singleton writing Boys in the Hood for best writer.
Yeah, I think we got there. We after talking through it, I feel good. Yeah, I'm feeling.
I feel pretty good about it as well. I feel very good about it as well. And with that, we're on to the best director category, and this one arguably more difficult than the last. For this one, we've only got a couple that overlap. We got John Singleton, again, wrote and directed Boys in the Hood. We got Danny Boyle for Trainspotting, and some overlap there, best director, best writer. But beyond that, we've got Martin Scorsese for Goodfellas, Spike Lee for Malcolm X, Steven Spielberg for Jurassic Park, Quentin Tarantino for Pulp Fiction, and David Fincher for Seven. Man, how do you choose?
My kind of immediate jump to the two that are kind of sticking out for me are Martin Scorsese, Goodfellas, and Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction. I feel like these are movies that are talked about and held in high esteem, I think, because of their direction and how they were told, how the story was told. Like Pulp Fiction, it's not just starting here and ending there. You know, it's not linear at all, and you jump around and you know, if that movie was linear, I don't know how it goes. You know, it's not the same movie at all. But then you have, you know, like these just two movies, Goodfellas and Pulp Fiction, they're held
from an aesthetic standpoint, visually, how they're shot, how they look, they're probably top 2 here. And after that, I go 7 in Train Spotting. Interestingly enough, I think David Fincher really bodied 7 in the direction of 7.
Did inspire a whole lot.
It did
7
indeed.
there. Batman pulled some heavy inspiration from 7, and
I'd say so.
the direction, just serial killers, and it kind of wrote itself in a way and directed itself, with the killings and stuff like that. But like how they executed it was insane. But yeah, if I'm between two, it's Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas for me.
All right. Obviously got to put some respect on Spielberg's name for Jurassic Park. It's a pretty legendary one. But I'd agree as far as the direction is concerned. It shines more in Goodfellas than Pulp Fiction. Maybe right behind it. However, though, Spike Lee for Malcolm X. Some pretty solid direction in that movie as well. John Singleton also nominated for Best Director at the Oscars for Boys in the Hood. Getting the most out of those actors, to be sure. Ooh, man, this is tough. There's like at these other spots, there's been like reasons I could tell you this one's gone. This one's gone. These are all really, really, really good. And at this point, it's almost personal preference. And I think Martin Scorsese Goodfellas direction is about as good as it gets. There's some beautiful shots in that film. The interactions between characters, and I think it's Martin Scorsese for Goodfellas. I really do. Quentin Tarantino is great for Pulp Fiction. I think he got a lot out of John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson. Which, didn't mention them at all in the Best Actor or Supporting Actor categories, but probably should have. But damn, man, I don't know I don't know that I put them above anybody that we did nom. That's
just a testament to how powerful the 90s are here. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was like, if I was going to do anything, it'd be Samuel L. Jackson in a Best Supporting Role. And yeah, he would have slid in there above Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park, but he wouldn't have won over Morgan Freeman. You know what I'm saying? Like,
true. But no, I think if I was to pick one between Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas, I would go to Goodfellas.
I'd watch Goodfellas 10 times again before I watched Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel okay. I think in the only reason I was putting Pulp Fiction up there too is just how iconic and how like as a film, like it's regarded as
it's
one of the greats,
so well
and everything.
Done. It's got that Tarantino touch with all the absurd violence and so on and so forth. But
in my opinion, I honestly think Tarantino's a little overrated and a little.
I think so too. I think he's I think he's flashy, and I think people there are things to like about his films, obviously, but
he's a weird guy too.
He's a weird guy. He makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. So maybe a little personal bias there against Quentin Tarantino, but. I do think Scorsese for Goodfellas. I don't think anyone's going to be able to argue Scorsese winning a Best Director.
Yeah, it's
for the 90s.
It's Martin Scorsese. There's no. It's not like he's not up there with these other guys. I'm definitely comfortable giving it to him here for Goodfellas.
Hell yeah! And with that, let's go over these previous winners. The Best Writer of the 70s was George Lucas for American Graffiti and Star Wars. Best Writer of the 80s was Tom Schulman for Dead Poets Society, and 90s goes to John Singleton for Boys in the Hood. Best Director of the 70s was Francis Ford Coppola for Godfather 1 and 2 and Apocalypse Now. Director of the 80s was Stanley Kubrick for The Shining. And now the 90s gives us Martin Scorsese for Goodfellas. So that's a pretty good succession there, I'd say. And hell of a first half of this award show here. Truman Show winning set design, Matrix winning costume design, Jurassic Park winning soundtrack, Denzel winning best actor, Morgan Freeman winning best supporting actor, Lorraine Bracco winning best actress, Gwyneth Paltrow winning best supporting actress, best director Martin Scorsese, and best writer Boys in the Hood. And that gives us 2 Goodfellas winners from Lorraine Bracco and Martin Scorsese. Gives us 2 Seven winners for Morgan Freeman and Gwyneth Paltrow. Gives Shawshank 1 win for best supporting actor with Morgan Freeman. Gives Boys in the Hood a win for best writer.
Worked itself out well.
Yeah, Malcolm X gets a win. Jurassic Park gets a win. The Matrix gets a win. The Truman Show gets a win. That's a lot of different movies. Only a couple getting repeats there. But a little love everywhere. A little bit of love everywhere. So I'm loving that. Loving that. But what we're really here for is our fun ass awards. You know, we did a whole hour on the real shit. Let's get to the fun shit. This is where we take our own liberties. This is all opinionated. It's not critical. We got some categories like best at being the best at being the worst at being the best, class clown, most likely to succeed, most likely to end up in jail or dead, dream blunt rotation, nightmare blunt rotation, biggest simp, best pair, and best hair. Feeling pretty good about it. So you know what? We're gonna top the show off with that best pair category because there's a lot there.
Holy shit! Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll do that at the end there. So let's start with something simple down the middle. Who's the best at being the best?
Okay, we got
I mean, Neo.
Yeah, that's who. I think Neo, Morpheus,
Trinity.
Yeah,
like
just
all,
them.
like
Yeah,
all
them, and Morpheus. Yeah, that's a strong 3 to start off with.
That's a really strong 3.
Just in one movie there. Let's see. No.
Maybe Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's all he knows. Not. When is he ever bad? You know, when is our boy Forrest ever?
Bad? You know, like he's that dude. He's that dude. You know, he scored a fucking touchdown on a kick return for Alabama and like didn't even know what he was doing. You know,
we got
run that way.
Ace Ventura.
That man's the best.
Saving the animals. You know, doing. I can get behind that.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Yeah,
I'm feeling pretty good about that. You know, the Matrix trilogy of characters, Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus, Forrest Gump, and Ace Ventura. Those feel like the best of the best. Those are the best of us.
Conversely, do we go to the best at being the worst, or the worst at being the best? You know, who just can't quite get there at being the best?
Who's good, but like, man, you suck at this. I'd say
Dumb and Dumber. Intentionally good, but just that's the whole point of the movie almost.
Yeah, it is. You know, like they keep trying and they keep trying and they keep succeeding, but don't know how or why. So I think Dumb and Dumber are definitely the worst at being the best. Pretty much no doubt. Maybe I was thinking Matt Damon's character in Good Will Hunting. You know, one of the smartest men alive. If we're talking from Selvig's perspective, from Stellan Skarsgård's perspective, man, that guy's the worst at being the best. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, there we go. Maybe what's his name? The guy in Jurassic Park who created the park. You know, he had some good intent, you know, cool stuff, but he, you know, just took it maybe a little
a step too far.
Hmm.
You know,
Sorry, well, I missed his name.
Hammond.
Hammond. That's right.
Hamond.
I mean,
And you know who might be the best amongst the best at being the best is Dr. Ian Malcolm. Or not best at being the worst, best at being the best. I loved me some Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. That man was the shit.
Okay, yeah, that's a good roundup there. Now, who do we hate? You know,
who is the best
through the 90s
at being the worst? I mean, I don't know how you aren't drawn to Agent Smith, man. Straight off rip, you got to go Agent Smith from The Matrix. That man's a nightmare. He does a really good job at being hateable.
Cypher, got to throw him in there too.
Cypher, fuck Cypher.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. Let's see, Truman Show. I'd say the creator,
Christoph, the creator.
That's it. Got a little too far. Playing God there a little too much.
Little bit much. The lawyer in Jurassic Park, who's like, we're gonna make millions off this. No, I want it to be accessible. Fine, we'll have a coupon day. Fuck you, guy. Eat my dick and my balls.
True. There we go. Let's see. Who else sucks? Scar.
Scar Blue, man.
Yeah, Scar sucks. Fuck that guy. What was his name?
Killed Mufasa.
His name wasn't always
Jeremy
Scar. Who?
Oh, I said the actor's name.
No, because his name wasn't always Scar, because he didn't always have the scar. I think his name was like, it literally translated to shit.
Shit.
Yeah, because his name wasn't. Because Aka. Yeah, waste. Basically, it translates to shit. That was his name before he got Scar, which is just hilarious.
Best at being the worst. The fucking warden in Shawshank Redemption.
What was his name? Warden Norton. Yeah, that guy sucked. Thankfully, Andy got him. At the end there.
Yeah, got his ass.
Got him. He couldn't do anything other than blow his brains out, I guess, at the end. That's the only option he saw left. Wasn't going to be a prisoner in his own prison. That he's already signing his death warrant there. Can you imagine?
Yeah, he goes to jail. He's dying.
Can you imagine they put him in jail there?
Ooh.
Like what would happen? Oh yeah. Wouldn't last long, I don't think. Let's see. I think. Anyone else?
I'm feeling pretty good about that list for best of being the worst. Agent Smith, Cypher, Christoph, the Jurassic Park lawyer, and Warden Norton. That's a good collection of fuck boys. I have no doubt. But yeah, who's the class clown? Who's? I mean, it's got to be Jim Carrey.
I wasn't. Yeah, Jim Carrey for everything.
And I don't think I think he might win. Like, I don't think we need another class clown. Like, he's Jim Carrey. He is the class clown.
I guess honorable mention maybe Forrest, unintentionally. Maybe just an unintentional class clown. He's he has his funny moments and
he does have his
funny move. But Jim Carrey, yeah, that's
Jim Carrey's. I mean, how do he 4 out of our 16? He's the class clown. There's no doubt. It's a guarantee. Hey, most likely to succeed, give me Andy Dufresne, man. Give me Andy Dufresne. That man is gone to succeed. He must. He will. Yeah, it's spelled very weird.
I'll just copy that one. And do that there. There we go.
Dufresne.
Yeah.
Dufresne. But yeah, Andy Dufresne, I think he's got to be most likely to succeed. And, hey, you know what? He's also most likely to end up in jail. Or I guess not end up in jail. He ended up outside of jail.
Mm-hmm. Even jail couldn't hold him. Prison couldn't hold that man. I'd say Will Hunting deserves to be up there, too.
Oh, yes. Definitely most likely to succeed, Will Hunting.
Let's see. Maybe, okay. Truman? When he's in the real world, that dude is going to do nothing but succeed.
Truman Burbank? That man's on the grind.
Neo.
Neo,
He is
yeah,
the one. You know, he has to.
Hey,
succeed.
these are the four that we've been comparing. You know, we were like Shawshank, Good Will Hunting, Truman Show, and The Matrix. Like we hit a run there that was just like, hey, free your mind, free yourself, free, like liberatory rhetoric, man, and they fucking nailed it.
That's a strong four there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think we really need to include anyone else. I think that's
Yeah, Andy Dufresne. I mean, Will Hunting, Truman Burbank, and Neo, they are the most likely to succeed. Most likely to end up in jail or dead. Andy Dufresne literally went to prison.
I guess you know, maybe not most like. Well, I mean, they're already there.
He also didn't end up in jail.
True. I guess you know what? Initially, yeah, maybe they don't. No, they don't deserve to be there. No, that's not what defines them. I don't.
Nah, you know, like we've had some pretty terrible people, and the most likely to end up in jail or dead. So I say we kick it off with Warden Norton if we're gonna get real here, and along with Clancy Brown's character, the guard who committed his assassination for him of the.
What did he?
Captain Hadley.
Ugh.
That man sucked.
Man, fuck that guy. Yeah, I'm gonna add him up there and best at being the worst because that guy sucked. Yeah, fuck that guy. Let's see. Gwyneth Paltrow. Sorry, too soon. I'm not gonna put her there. I'm not gonna put her there.
Her head in a box.
Not gonna put her there. That's just I can't do that. Who was the in Trainspotting the guy who wasn't an addict?
Robert Carlyle's character. What was his name?
Begbie.
Shite state of affairs, isn't it, Begbie?
I think including Begbie there is good.
Yeah, I'd say so too. He's also
in Pulp Fiction. You got probably a couple there that are probably likely to end up dead. Some of them ended up.
John Travolta's character. He does end up dead.
What's his name there?
Uma Thurman's character.
Vincent Vega.
Like she's on a Vincent Vega. Seems like she's on a Uma Thurman's character seems like she was on a road to potential death. She nearly OD'd on
Wallace
on some skag.
True. Maybe just throwing in Dumb and Dumber in there. Surprising that they didn't die through a lot of the things that
I could see them accidentally going to jail too.
Yeah. I'd say that's and maybe just the entire cast of Goodfellas, just mob related. Give Goodfellas we haven't really mentioned Goodfellas in here yet, but just being in the mob, you're likely to end up in jail or dead there if you're just in that life.
Hey, at the end of this, we ought to go through and use these as our nominees. Like what we list out as like nominees, and we pick who's the best at being the worst, who's the best at being the best.
I like that.
Maybe we go back and we select a winner from the previous decades just to give us a succession here. Yeah, so you get to be a part of the nominee system for this one. It's just or not you, but the listener gets to be a part of the nominee system for this one, and we get to choose live on air. But except for Dream Blunt Rotation and Nightmare Blunt Rotation, these are
that's a group. That has to.
Yeah, it's a group. It has to be a group. But yeah, Ace Ventura goes immediately in that Dream Blunt Rotation. He has to be there. I have zero doubts. Will Hunting, definitely a part of that. Post therapy,
pre-therapy, he's in the Nightmare Blunt Rotation because he's just going to get high and just nitpick and explain every possible little thing. But him post revelation after he gets the girl, I think he'd be a cool addition. Like if you ever need to know anything, be like, hey, Will, he's basically Google, or for there. So I think he'd be pretty cool. pretty cool in there.
I feel you there. I feel you there. Give me a
Red.
Ooh, yeah. Give me Red. I gotta have Red with me. Morpheus.
I'm wanting Morpheus up in there. Yeah, I want Morpheus in there with me. That's for sure.
If we're gonna be token, Morpheus has to be there. And
I gotta know what Forrest Gump's like high.
I gotta see
that
what's
one's
going
just
on.
I don't know if he'd be good there. I just have to know what he would be like. I think he'd be a fun addition.
I think he'd be a hoot. He'd be a hoot.
Let's see.
Man.
You want Mufasa there?
I mean, I'd like to smoke out a lion at some point.
Yeah, I think that'd be maybe Mufasa and Nala. Just
Mufasa and Nala can just can come
come along. Anyone in Jurassic Park? Ooh, Jeff Goldblum.
Give me Ian Malcolm, man. I gotta have Jeff Goldblum with me. No doubts about that.
Pretty strong.
Ooh, and with Morpheus, you got to give me Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood, Lawrence Fishburne's character. That man was strong.
True. Let's see. Are we missing anyone crucial here? Trainspotting, I feel like it's just not a good idea to throw anyone in there, maybe.
All in the Nightmare Blunt rotation, because at any point, Begbie, he might beat your ass for smoking weed. The others might bring out the heroin. And, that's where the party ends for me.
I think for Dream,
the entirety of the Trainspotting group.
Dream, I think we got everyone that...
Oh, yeah. Ace Ventura, Will Hunting, Red, Morpheus, Forrest Gump, Mufasa and Nala, Ian Malcolm, and Furious Styles. Come on. We're out here worshiping life. You know what I'm saying? Will Hunting pre-therapy, probably in the Nightmare Blunt rotation. Warden Norton, of course. He'll probably shoot you.
Maybe the T-Rex.
Oh yeah, I'm not fucking with that guy. The Velociraptors, any of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park.
Well, not all. You got the Brachiosaurus.
Oh, give me the Brachiosaurus. I'll smoke out the Brachiosaurus.
Yeah. I'm just gonna Google that one real quick. How to spell that? Thank you, Google. Wasn't gonna attempt it on my own. There we go. And then every dinosaur but the Brachiosaurus. But the Brachiosaurus in the Nightmare, I feel, is pretty fitting there. Let's see. Other Nightmare. I guess The Mask. I don't know. I feel like that would just freak me out.
Yeah, I'm not fucking with Stanley Ipkiss The Mask. That might be it for me.
How?
I'm not feeling him in the circle there.
Ipkiss, there it is.
Bruce Willis's character in Pulp Fiction, Butch Coolidge. Butch. Fuck no, I'm not letting Butch anywhere near me while we're smoking up.
Let's see. 7, the serial killer.
Fuck no, John Doe.
Yeah, true. Don't want him up in there at all. The Warden, Warden Norton, and Captain Hadley.
Aiden Smith.
Ops.
Nah, I'm good. Agent.
Smith. Okay, I'm like Aiden. I'm like, wait, what's that from? But yeah, definitely.
Aiden Smith would be someone we know in real life.
Yeah, I was like, interesting. What movie was that from? But let's see. Anyone from Goodfellas?
You know what? I don't think anyone in Goodfellas makes the Dream Blunt rotation. Joe Pesci's character might make the Nightmare Blunt rotation, though. That man lost it a couple times if you looked at him wrong. So I'm gonna have to go with Tommy DeVito.
Oh, my bad.
That man was scary.
Let's see. I think we got Furious Styles there. I guess, would you want to smoke up with Malcolm X?
My thing is, if I remember correctly, Malcolm X wasn't feeling weed. I don't recall if he was Like I believe he wasn't digging that. I believe
We'll leave him
if
out,
I remember correctly,
out of respect.
Out of respect. Like he doesn't want to be a part of it. He doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I went with it. Samuel L. Jackson, just in general, he had a few roles in the 90s. He was in Goodfellas, in Jurassic Park, in Pulp Fiction. I'd like to smoke with Samuel L. Jackson. I think I had Alfred Molina in the last Dream Blunt rotation, so I can comfortably throw Samuel L. Jackson here and feel good about it. All roles.
Let's see. I think maybe Cypher and Nightmare. Possibly.
Cypher is, I'm not feeling Cypher particularly. He might pull the plug out of me.
I think we got
I think we got a good balance. Here.
Oh yeah.
So in the Dream Blunt rotation, we got Ace Ventura, Will Hunting, Post Therapy, Red, Morpheus, Forrest Gump, Mufasa and Nala, Dr. Ian Malcolm, Furious Styles, the Brachiosaurus, and Samuel L. Jackson. And the Nightmare Blunt rotation, the fucking saying Brachiosaurus and Samuel L. Jackson was just the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. Nightmare Blunt rotation, everybody in Trainspotting, Will Hunting, Pre-Therapy, every other dinosaur but the Brachiosaurus, Stanley Ipkiss, Butch, John Doe, Warden Norton and Captain Hadley, Agent Smith, Tommy DeVito, and Cypher. Couldn't catch me near them.
There we go. I think that's a strong group for both of them there. I think
I'd say so.
Really
I'd say so.
Out, but okay.
Whom's are the biggest simps? Truman Burbank.
I don't know if it's really simp, but he's pulling out the magazines. He's making her face.
That's simp behavior, bro.
So he was the first one to come to my mind for simp.
Oh yeah, he's simping there. Truman Burbank. That's a good choice.
I guess is Trinity kind of simping for Neo? Maybe
I think a simp has to be shameless. She can't have any reservations. It's got to be
true. Yeah,
I'm simping for you shamelessly. I think Truman Burbank might be our premier example of a simp.
Trying to think of any other. Let's see.
Jim Carrey's character in Dumb and Dumber. Floyd Christmas goes all the way to Aspen to follow somebody, or Lloyd Christmas maybe. I can't remember.
Lloyd. Yeah, Lloyd. Lloyd. Yeah.
Lloyd. Lloyd Christmas. Jim Carrey's got the simp roll down.
True. Maybe just Jim Carrey I guess.
Oh shit. Give me a Sean McGuire, Robin Williams, and Good Will Hunting. He had to see about a girl. He's not pulling up to the game, man. He's not pulling up to game 6.
Is it? I don't.
I only know it's McGuire because it was what was on his. It was on his mailbox at the end of the movie. I think it was Maguire, but yeah, Sean, I think he had to go see about a girl. So
that's true.
I'm feeling pretty confident with him there.
Okay, fair. Let's run through. Let's see. No simps. No. I guess
Simba for Nala.
Maybe. Oh wait, why am I saying Mufasa and Nala? Yeah, what? Oh, I mixed up Mufasa. It's Simba. Hello.
I mean, I would also like to smoke up with Mufasa,
true.
though.
I guess, yeah. Let's just
no complaints here.
Put them all in there, I guess. Why not? But yeah, I was really going for Simba and Nala, not Mufasa.
Yeah,
and Nala.
I feel you though.
But okay, there we go. Simba, kind of simp. He's on flip that B around. You got Simba.
Hey, can you feel that? Can you feel that love tonight?
Oh, true. Let's see.
Ace Ventura wasn't really
anti-simp, if anything.
The opposite of a simp.
So out of the
impressive about his role there.
Yeah, out of the Jim Carrey, he's usually simping as Jim Carrey, but he's an anti-simp there. He's
to be sure. But yeah, I think I'm sitting pretty with the biggest simps here, and Truman Burbank, Lloyd Christmas, Sean McGuire, and Simba. That's pretty outstanding. But looking back through these '90s movies, who had the best hair? Who? I think Ace Ventura's got to be an early contender. He had some pretty legendary hair up there. Man, Morpheus, the distinct lack of.
I dig it. That's meta there.
Yeah, you feel me. Ooh, John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. He had the long hair going.
Oh yeah,
Vincent Vega. He had a pretty strong hair appearance there.
pretty normal hair in 7. Shawshank.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting pretty normal hair the rest of the way.
Yeah, pretty normal there. Forrest, pretty normal.
Ooh, we could also go with Samuel L. Jackson's character in Pulp Fiction. He also had some pretty kick-ass hair.
Yes.
His fro was strong.
Yes, no, he deserves to be
the
up
fro
there.
was strong with
Jules
that one.
Winfield.
God, what a name. Jules Winfield. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that list. I think Ice Cube had the Jerry curl in Boys in the Hood, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty strong.
I guess this kind of includes facial hair too.
True,
it's the whole hair look. I'm comfortable putting Ice Cube in there.
I'm trying to think of like some distinct hair looks for women over the course of the decade, and I think Trinity had a pretty distinct one, but I don't know if I'd define it as best hair. You know what I'm saying? Trinity certainly had distinct hair. I liked Lorraine Bracco's hair in Goodfellas. But those are more serious best hair. Like, oh yeah, you had really nice hair. Beyond that, I think we're sitting pretty with Ace Ventura, Morpheus, Vincent Vega, Jules Winfield, and Ice Cube.
I think that's good. And now
the best pair.
Here we go.
Now this is going to be a fun nominees list to choose from. I say we kick it off top with Neo and Trinity. That feels like a strong one. Perhaps Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield. Neo and Morpheus.
Sorry, what was
Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield. It's pretty Pulp Fiction, pretty iconic pairing there. Dumb and Dumber.
True.
Hey, now we can throw Simba and Nala at it. Let's throw Simba and Nala at it. Forrest and Jenny. Nah. Fuck Forrest and Jenny. Give me Forrest and Bubba Gump.
You know what? Yes. Thank you. That does work a lot better.
I'm trying to go one per movie too. You know, I don't need too much more than that. Who you throw Truman with? I'm interested.
The Sylvia, right?
Sylvia. Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's the payoff.
Andy and Red from The Shawshank Redemption. What a strong pairing they were.
Brad Pitt and
Matt Damon, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Not just on screen, also behind the scenes.
Let's just put them at their real name. I leave out the K. Is there a K at the end of Affleck?
Yes, there is.
Thought so. Looked right. Good.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Another Morgan Freeman. I'd say.
Ooh, yeah.
Somerset and Mills. Mills. Yeah.
Yeah. Somerset and Mills is strong. That's strong. I mean, De Niro and Pesci and Goodfellas. Those were boys. James Conway and Tommy DeVito. But yeah, I think
Conway, not Conaway. Conway. There we go. Are we missing? Let's see. We got Truman. We got Goodwill. Train Spotting.
I don't know if there's any duo in particular I take there.
7 we got.
Maybe...
Shawshank we got. Forrest we got. Pulp Fiction we got. Dumb and Dumber we got. The Mask.
Nah.
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura and Dan Marino. Nah, but
maybe
and the Dolphin. And the Animal Kingdom.
I can dig that. Ooh, Jurassic Kingdom. Park. The archaeologists.
Yeah, you could have Grant and Ellie. I think they're a good duo.
Is Grant his first name or last? I feel like that was his last name. Yeah. Grant. I'll just put Grant and Ellie, not just no doctor. We'll just do Grant and Ellie. I feel like we've got every movie that we possibly could. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that's a good layout for us to choose from. So I say we go through this now and we pick category by category of our nominees at best at being the worst. Who's the worst of the worst? We got Agent Smith, Cypher, Kristoff the Creator, the lawyer in Jurassic Park, Warden Norton, or Captain Hadley. Hey, man, I'm not going to cap. Fuck Agent Smith and fuck Cypher. But Warden Norton is the worst of us.
He does suck. That dude using, he's what was his 2 things? He's about discipline
and the Bible,
or something like that. And like how hypocritical can you really get there? And
at least Agent Smith was actually a robot.
True.
Warden Norton's a human who acts that way.
I feel like
he's the absolute worst.
I feel like
the worst.
I was almost going to say Captain Hadley, but it's like he's kind of following.
Hey, he's at the
orders, but he likes
it
though. He does enjoy it. I think
he does enjoy
but
it.
But no, it's this guy. Fuck this guy.
Fuck Warden Norton. He is the 90s best at being the worst. And if you will, with me, let's head up to the 80s and take a look up at who was the best at being the worst here. We had Mr. Vernon from The Breakfast Club and Neil's dad from Dead Poets Society. Hey, and frankly, fuck Mr. Vernon. I think Neil's dad was the absolute worst. That man sucked. He was my least favorite. So the secession as of right now, we got 90s with Warden Norton, 80s with Neil's dad, and the 70s best at being the worst included Steve and the mayor from Jaws. And fuck Steve. It's always fuck Steve, but the mayor from Jaws was the worst of the worst.
Technically,
terrible suit coat ass boy.
His suit jackets were pretty terrible. That's enough to hate him. And then for what he does, fuck that guy. Fuck the mayor. Fuck the mayor. Fuck Neil's dad, and fuck Warden Norton.
And there you go. That's the secession there. So, in the 90s, who's the best at being the best? Our options here are Neo, Trinity, Morpheus, Forrest Gump, Ace Ventura, and Dr. Ian Malcolm. Hey, man. If we're going truly based off of this decade alone, what happens in these movies, I think it's Morpheus. Dude, I love Morpheus. That man was truly the best at being the best. The way he took the fall for the crew, the way they went back to save him, because he's worth it. He's Morpheus. That's the legend. And frankly, what's funny? Second place for me is Ace Ventura, which is just so funny. In a category with Neo.
True.
I've got Ace Ventura. But so 90s best at being the best, we've got Morpheus as portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne. Heading back up to the 80s. Are you taking John Keating from Dead Poets Society as portrayed by Robin Williams, or Ellen Ripley from Aliens? I think you take Ellen Ripley from Aliens. Yeah. That woman was the shit.
The mother-daughter thing there. Like,
oh man, it hardly gets better.
And
than
she's
that.
just
It
badass
really
in her own right. I'm taking Ellen Ripley there.
And I don't even need to look at the 70s to tell you it was Luke Skywalker.
That's true. Yeah, there's no doubt about that one. That guy he's a good guy. What a good guy.
So our succession, the best at being the best across the 70s, 80s, and 90s is Luke Skywalker, Ellen Ripley, and Morpheus. That's strong. That's a strong 3 there. And now, for the 90s worst at being the best, I think it almost certainly has to go to Dumb and Dumber. They're far and away the worst at being the best. I mean, we had the options of Will Hunting and Dr. Hammond, or Mr. Hammond. I don't even think he was a doctor, but Dumb and Dumber, they are truly the best.
That's the movie,
but they're terrible at it. Then in the 80s, we got Carl the janitor from The Breakfast Club.
He's alone
for worst at being the best. And in the 70s, we've got 2 options. We can take Martin Brody from Jaws, or we can take Hawkeye Pierce from MASH. And hey, I gotta go Martin Brody, just because like I respect what you're doing. You're trying your best. Man, you could have done more. You're kind of weak, kind of a weakling up until the end of the movie when he finally gets to tell that bitch to smile.
And this upcoming one, Class Clown, this is pretty easy, pretty set in stone here.
Yeah, the 90s Class Clown, no doubts about it. That's Jim Carrey. He dominated this era, and if I have to go with our 80s Class Clowns, we had the options of Nuwanda from Dead Poet Society, and we had Barf from Spaceballs.
Let's give Spaceballs a win here in something.
Let's give it the dub. And, Barf is the 80s Class Clown. And then up at the 70s, Class Clown goes to Hooper from Jaws. So 70s Hooper, 80s Barf, and 90s Jim Carrey.
Man,
that's outstanding. Now let's take it to most likely to succeed. We've got Andy Dufresne, Will Hunting, Truman Burbank, and Neo. Who do you feel is the most likely to succeed?
I feel, Truman, he's going to go out there and he's the most famous person, but I feel like there's some people that want to kill him for some reason, like they're jealous of, or possibly, I don't know. I feel like that,
with fame comes
exactly
some damaging,
and
potential.
Andy, he's a smart guy, but he's not as smart as as Will Hunting, and I don't know though. I mean, he's a pretty calculated motherfucker.
He's resourceful.
But I mean, Neo,
man's a superhero.
He's the one, and he's like kind of destined to have to work out. Almost,
He's he is truly the most likely to succeed. It is predestined. So yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Neo is our most likely to succeed for the 90s, which is a pretty awesome little tidbit for him. But our most likely to succeed options for the 80s.
That trinity there. From the Terminator, it's another kind of predestined one. Like that love triangle.
Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, and John Connor. The parents and the child,
Brian
in that infinite time loop to preserve it, and Brian from The Breakfast Club,
okay.
just a smart kid. I'd give it to Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, and John Connor for most likely to succeed there in the 80s, and up in the 70s. We've got Sante and the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, which I'm feeling very good about. They are the most likely to succeed.
That's a determined
that gives us, Sante, the Terminator trilogy with Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, and John Connor, and Neo as our most likely to succeed across the decades. Now, this is going to be a fun one. Who is the single most likely to end up in jail or dead? Hey, man, all these people are terrible, but on paper, like you give me a rundown of just the personalities. I don't know much more about them than that. Begbie's got to go to jail, man. Begbie's got to go to
Probably
jail.
been there a few times already, you know. Like I don't know. Yeah, that dude, he's asking for trouble all the time. That's what he does.
His addiction with people.
I'd say I'm comfortable giving it to Begbie there for sure.
Yeah, Begbie definitely most likely to end up in jail. We had a few up here for the 80s too. We had John Bender, Tony Montana, and the Spaceballs, and it feels only right to go Tony Montana here. Definitely ended up
dead. Yeah,
very dead. Shot 50 or so times. And then our 70s most likely to end up in jail or dead. Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver, also we think probably dead. Travis Bickle, Tony Montana, and Begbie for most likely to end up in jail or dead. We got Tony Montana, a fucking crime kingpin. Travis Bickle. I think Travis Bickle and Begbie could hang out.
You know, maybe we do pick someone out of the Dream
I'm going to
Blunt,
say,
maybe, you know,
for the Dream Blunt rotation, pick 3. Of the options we have, pick 3 people. You're passing around 1 blunt. You don't want too many people there. You know, 4 max. We've got options in Ace Ventura, Will Hunting, Red from the Shawshank Redemption, Morpheus, Forrest Gump, Mufasa, Simba, and Nala, Dr. Ian Malcolm, Furious Styles, the Brachiosaurus, and Samuel L. Jackson. So who are you feeling is, you know what? Let's go 3 others besides us. You know, we're there. Me and you are there. And then three more people there.
Out of my 3 that I'm picking, I immediately just went to Ace Ventura's got to be there. I grouped Morpheus and Furious Styles there because, I mean, they're both Lawrence Fishburne, so we can get there. And then Samuel L. Jackson. You know, that's just a Jim Carrey, Lawrence Fishburne, and Samuel L. Jackson. That's just pretty cool.
Yeah, give me that, man. I nothing sounds better than that, frankly.
But
maybe if we were all riding upon the back of a Brachiosaurus.
That's true. Ooh. Shit. Are those the 3 or no? I just kind of jumped. I just was doing it as to grab 3, but maybe.
Hey, here's my thing. I think you did pick. I think you did pick right. I think Ace Ventura. But we either got to make Morpheus and Furious Styles just Lawrence Fishburne, or we got to pick one.
I think I'd rather
Morpheus, right?
Yeah, I feel like if
we're gonna smoke up with Ace Ventura, Morpheus, and Samuel L. Jackson.
I guess do we have to pick a role for Samuel L. Jackson necessarily? I guess his roles, yeah.
I wouldn't so much. I mean, I'd smoke with Jules Winfield probably. He was a pretty cool guy. But his Goodfellas and Jurassic Park roles, take it or leave it.
We'll specifically Jules though, I'd say.
All right, yeah. So we go strictly characters, not the actors here. Ace Ventura, Morpheus, and Jules Winfield are who is in our Dream Blunt rotation for the 90s. And frankly, that sounds delightful. Now, amongst the 80s Dream Blunt rotations, I mean, this one, I'm going Indiana Jones. You know, you got to have, so here were the options. We had Hayao Miyazaki, writer of My Neighbor Totoro, The Entire Breakfast Club, Indiana Jones, Marion Ravenwood, Sala, John Keating, Totoro, and The Cat Bus, and Alfred Molina. So I go Indiana Jones. I go John Keating. No doubts about that. And beyond that,
take us anywhere we want to go. Cat Bus.
Cat Bus would be pretty strong.
Maybe Totoro though would be the one.
I think Totoro would be optimal to smoke with. You know, I don't need Cat Bus.
Maybe Cat Bus comes along with Totoro. We have Totoro. He calls upon Cat Bus all the time. You know, so maybe,
you know, hey, Cat Bus doesn't have to be a part of the smoking. He can just drive us places. Yeah. You know, Cat Bus can be there. Same with the Brachiosaurus, like in the 90s, the Brachiosaurus is our mode of transportation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's us, Ace Ventura, Morpheus, and Jules Winfield riding on the back of a Brachiosaurus. While in the 80s, it's us, Indiana Jones, John Keating, and Totoro riding on Catbus. I think that sounds optimal. And frankly, I need this to happen, at least in a dream.
I'll lucid dream one night and make this happen. Has to.
It has to. So let's get it to the 70s. Dream blunt rotation. We've got Han and Chewbacca. We've got Hooper from Jaws, Don Vito Corleone from The Godfather, Kurt from American Graffiti, Bob Falfa from American Graffiti, the 35th head chamber dude.
Is it wise?
He was basically using the Force.
Very wise. Yeah.
Colonel Kurtz if we put him in a cage, and then Kilgore if he wasn't in the military. So straight off rip here, I'm taking Han, I'm taking Chewbacca, and I'm taking Don Vito Corleone, and we are chilling. And you know what? We're on the Millennium Falcon. All of these have like a mode of transportation now too, which is going to be hilarious.
Gotta have the Falcon. I mean, what other?
We're smoking up in the Millennium Falcon with Han, Chewie, and Vito Corleone.
I love the mode of transportation.
You gotta have it,
nice.
dude. I'm glad that's an addition I've thought of here. And Indy. So Han, Chewie, and Vito Corleone aboard the Millennium Falcon, smoking some dope. That's an idyllic adventure. Indiana Jones, John Keating, and Totoro on board the Cat Bus. Quite the adventure. And then in the 90s, we've got Ace Ventura, Morpheus, and Jules Winfield on board the Brachiosaurus. What a time to be alive any of those would be. Fucking love that. Getting specific with it is definitely the move, limiting it. So I'm excited for the aughts and the tens now that we've got this format laid out. But in the nightmare blunt rotation, who's absolutely the three we are not smoking with?
John Doe, I feel. Warren Norton.
Yeah.
I feel like John Doe and Warren Norton are two that I just don't want to be there, especially John Doe.
Yeah, I think I go John Doe, Agent Smith, and Tommy DeVito, man. I feel like Joe Pesci is likely to fly off the handle at any moment and kill me.
That's fair. That's fair. Do we have a nightmare mode of transportation? Or
every dinosaur but the Brachiosaurus?
Yes, it just makes sense.
Yeah, we're on the back of a T-Rex.
Or a Velociraptor.
We're all riding Velociraptors side by side.
Wow. That is a nightmare. That's a
nightmare.
Fair.
With John Doe, Agent Smith, and Tommy DeVito.
All on the backs of Velociraptors. That's wow.
That's terrifying. Nightmare blunt rotation.
The twins from The Shining, the lady in the bathtub from The Shining, the whole motherfucking
all of
hotel
it's
from The Shining, Neil's dad, the aliens and Mr. Vernon.
So if I had to pick for the 80s, nightmare blunt rotation, I say we keep it relatively in-house, and we go the twins from The Shining, the lady in the bathtub from The Shining, and then the mode of transportation isn't a mode of transportation. We're smoking in the whole motherfucking hotel in The Shining. That all sounds terrifying,
Yeah.
Yeah, smoking with the twins and then the lady in the bathtub. That's as big a nightmare as it gets, and we would be in the hotel from The Shining, and I can't think of something I'd like less.
Yeah,
that's probably terrible. Probably terrible. And then on the 70s nightmare blunt rotation, we've got Quint.
Darth Vader is in there, which is just funny.
Jaws, the shark itself.
He's the mode of transportation.
Yeah, he is.
Or maybe maybe
Taxi from Taxi Driver.
The Taxi's the mode of transportation.
We're all hotboxing the taxi with Jaws in the back seat.
Yes, yes, that's the transportation. The shark is involved, I feel. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely don't need Jaws there. Vader, I can't imagine Vader's much fun there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, nah, I don't even want to think about what he's like high.
And then
one more.
I mean, if we had Taxi Driver includes Travis Bickle.
Mm-hmm. Because he's the driver. He's part of the mode of transportation.
Yes. So I think he is included.
So is that like our three, or we have one more to pick?
I think that's it. I think we go Travis Bickle, Darth Vader, and Jaws the Shark on board the taxi that Travis Bickle is driving. Oh, that is fucking funny. All right, so in the 70s, Dream Blunt rotation is Han and Chewbacca with Don Vito Corleone on board the Millennium Falcon, while our Nightmare Blunt rotation would be Travis Bickle, Darth Vader, and Jaws on board the taxi that Travis Bickle is driving. In the 80s, our Dream Blunt rotation is Indiana Jones, John Keating, and Totoro on board Cat Bus, while our Nightmare Blunt rotation is the twins from The Shining, the lady in the bathtub from The Shining. Meanwhile, we are smoking in the hotel from The Shining. That sounds like hell. And in the 90s, what this was all about, the Dream Blunt rotation is Ace Ventura, Morpheus, and Jules Winfield on the back of the Brachiosaurus. And in the Nightmare Blunt rotation, we're smoking with John Doe, Agent Smith, and Tommy DeVito, each on the back of our own Velociraptor. That sounds like a nightmare. Perfect. I need to make these graphics happen. I need to figure out how to
even think about that. Yeah, graphic wise, that'd be nuts. Who's a bigger simp, Truman Burbank or Lloyd?
I'll tell for my money, biggest simp in the 90s, we got Truman Burbank, Lloyd Christmas, Sean McGuire, and Simba. Sean McGuire and Simba are out. I love them to death, but they're not nearly as big a simp as Truman Burbank or Lloyd Christmas.
Which Jim Carrey's the bigger simp?
Okay, so here's my thing. Truman has a real reason to have kind of latched on. The girl talked to Lloyd. And that was enough because he was like,
remembered my name,
Harry. She talked to me, Harry. Oh, she did? Like it's gotta be Lloyd Christmas for the biggest simp of the 90s, man. He went all the way to Aspen in search for this girl. They got to Aspen. He didn't even know where she was at. He was just like, we're in Aspen, this is where we start.
That's fitting.
So yeah, I gotta go Lloyd Christmas for the biggest simp of the 90s. Up in the 80s, we had Knox Overstreet from Dead Poets Society as the biggest simp. And in the 70s, our options were Kurt, Luke Skywalker, George Lucas, the chef from Apocalypse Now, and Quint for the shark. I got to go Kurt. He spent that whole night after he saw a girl in a window mouth "I love you," and he followed her to the ends of the earth.
That's true. True.
So our succession there is Kurt is the biggest simp of the 70s, Knox Overstreet the biggest simp of the 80s, and Lloyd Christmas the biggest simp of the 90s. Now, who's had the best hair throughout the decades? 90s, we've got options in Ace Ventura, Morpheus, Vincent Vega, Jules Winfield, and Ice Cube. Hey, man. I think Ace Ventura had the best hair.
There's a reason we had him down first, too. Yeah, he came up first.
That's a memorable hairdo.
Very true. Okay.
Best hair in the 80s went to Sarah Connor. She was bodying that shit in the Terminator. She was queen on her queen shit in there. And then best hair of the 70s, no hair stands as iconic as Leia Organa. So we've got Leia Organa, Sarah Connor, and Ace Ventura for the succession of the best hair.
I love how he had worst hair in the 70s just because of Travis Bickle.
For Travis
just
Bickle.
because that dude, what was he doing there?
That mohawk was awful. We also had it in the 80s because Allison's character. And
true. I guess, did anyone have bad hair in the 90s?
I mean, if we were being like for real about worst hair, it would probably go to Ace Ventura.
He wins best hair and worst hair.
Yeah, like it's like you know what, you've got that look down, so I'll give you best hair, but boy oh boy does it suck on anybody else.
That's funny.
So yeah, I gotta go with that there for best and worst hair, Ace Ventura. And thus we're on to best pair. And if we're picking one pair from each decade, who are you going with in the 90s?
The ones I'm in between, Neo and Trinity, Andy Dufresne and Red, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, I think are the ones that I'm between.
All right,
maybe.
so let me spit this at you. My gut goes Andy Dufresne and Red.
I mean, that's the whole. Yeah.
They get.
This is kind of the most serious award out of
man.
the funny ones, you know, like but it's them. That's the whole movie. Without those two, what are we doing here? You know,
what are we doing here? You know, Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield fucked, Dumb and Dumber fucked, but it doesn't get better than Andy Dufresne and Red. You know, those were the guys. Those were the guys right there. So I'll take it up to the 80s, and we'll look at a couple pairs here. And these we got a little bit more creative in the past, where we didn't take ones that actually happened in movie, and we went more cross-platform with it. You know, so we had like Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley. We had Indiana Jones and Ravenwood, which does occur in the same movie. Totoro and Barf. Indiana Jones and John Keating. And since it is the only one here, I think we almost have to go Indiana Jones and Marion Ravenwood for the best pair of the 80s. And, you know, off the top of my head, when it comes to the 80s, if there's anything other than Indy and Ravenwood, you know, like maybe Totoro and Cat Bus, that was strong.
It's a good honorable mention.
Yeah, but I think it's got to go Indy and Ravenwood for the best pair. They were definitely my favorite of the 80s. And in the 70s, we also took the liberties of getting a little creative. You know, we had Don Vito Corleone and Old Ben, Luke's X-Wing and Terry's car, Vader and Steve, Alex and Travis, C-3PO and Fredo Corleone, Sante and Luke Skywalker. But thinking back to the 70s, we're Star Wars fans. So I think it's almost certainly either Luke and Leia or Han and Chewie. And I think since we got Han and Chewie in the Dream Blunt rotation, then maybe we can go ahead and go Luke and Leia. You know, like that's the pairing here that made the most impact in the 70s. Which would leave us with Luke and Leia in the 70s, Indiana Jones and Marion Ravenwood in the 80s, and Andy Dufresne and Red in the 90s. And with that, what was the movie of the decade?
There's one. I don't know. I feel like we always go back to it. After we did it, we kept referring back, and we kept saying, "Is this movie better than this one?" Almost. The movie in my head is Shawshank. Shawshank.
And I'd like to point to a little parallel here. I too agree. I do think it is Shawshank for more reasons than this. But look to our movie of the decade in the 80s. We got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Who won Best Pair? Indy and Ravenwood. Look to the 70s. What won Movie of the Decade? Star Wars. Who won Best Pair? Luke and Leia. Movie of the decade in the 90s. Shawshank Redemption. Best Pair. Andy Dufresne and Red.
See a pattern here.
If you can form the definitive relationship of the decade, it's probably going to win the best movie for me. It's going to resonate on a level that others didn't, because you did create those character moments. You did create a story that resonated on such a level that it premieres above all else. And I'm with you. I think the movie of the decade for the 90s was The Shawshank Redemption. Now, I don't know that our scores would necessarily reflect it, but I do think, thinking back to the 90s, The Shawshank Redemption is the best movie.
Well, I think it actually does.
Oh, it is?
It's 4.97. That is the highest out of everything. Matrix being the next.
Aha, that was my only hang-up. I was like, I knew Matrix was a 4.95, but I couldn't remember what Shawshank was. All right, yeah.
0.03 above, or 2 above. So, yeah, it does actually reflect. Our rating system, I think, is pretty robust at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Honorable mentions, The Matrix, Malcolm X, I would say, is a pretty good honorable mention there. But nothing, I don't think, can beat Shawshank. That's movie of the decade, going from like comparing Shawshank to Star Wars and freaking is Indiana Jones. Yeah. Man, that's going to be a tough one whenever we get there.
It's
knowing how much we like Star Wars, though. That's anything gonna beat Star Wars. But Shawshank, it's good for way different reasons.
Yeah, like if I'm going like critically, just off the movie alone, I don't know. It could get pretty tough there. But yeah, movie of the decade of the 90s was The Shawshank Redemption. Very, very happy with that. And thus concludes the 90s awards. I think this was far and away our longest award show so far. Probably will remain that way, given that we went back up to the other ones and had to work through as we decided on certain formats.
And we did have 6 more movies than we normally would have.
There you go.
With 94. So.
Instead of 10 movies per decade, we went with 16 this decade. Shout out to 1994 for being such a fucking packed year. That'll be interesting. Here, let me look back through our awards and see how many of the 1994 movies prevailed. Shawshank got 1. So there was 7 movies in 1994, but Shawshank.
And arguably, maybe Shawshank should have been the Friday movie instead of Forrest Gump. Now, but you haven't seen it beforehand, so
hindsight is 20/20, my friend.
But yeah, so I guess if we truly had Shawshank at our Friday, no movie, right, would have. There's no movie other than our Friday movies that won an award, other than Shawshank. Is that the only? That's.
Yeah, Shawshank was the only one that wasn't a Friday movie that won.
I guess if we're going into our fun categories, Dumb and Dumber won, worst at being the best.
Jim Carrey got him some for Class Clown. Warden Norton, best
Lloyd
of being
Christmas,
the worst.
Biggest Simp.
There you go.
Ace Ventura, Dream Blunt rotation in there. So there would be some people missing without the 94 week that we had. So
exactly. It pays off in the end. It pays off. But with that, we conclude the 90s awards. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoraBloom, where you'll find well over 24 hours of exclusive content. All that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. And then if you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod. Follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. As of right now, the 90s are done. It's behind us. 3 decades in the books. And this Friday, the 2000s get rolling. And we're kicking it off with 2000s Gladiator. Very, very excited. Heard nothing but good things and cannot wait to watch it. Of course, I was Colton Robertson, and I was joined by and will continue to be joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom, and always praise the Shawshank Redemption.